All right, what's up, guys? It's Dynasty Life here with the tripod today. I'm Stevie B.
It's the Polish hammer, baby.
All right, and today we got you with another episode of grading Dynasty teams. All right, another team in our league. If you're not familiar with us, 14.
Which you should be by this point. You should be familiar with us.
14-team Dynasty league. 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex, kicker, a couple defensive guys. And let's go run down this team real quick. So Aaron Rodgers, Hunt, Singletary, Brown, Judy, Callaway, Gronk, but let's just say let's put who's he got on his bench here? Hunter Henry there. Okay. Henderson. Going down to the bench, Wentz, Hilton, Patrick, Wilson, Font. Not much.
Real quick, Blanc, before you continue, I just think it's poetic justice that Carson Wentz has a question mark next to his face. I that's poetic justice to me. I'm just gonna say
I didn't see that.
I don't have that on my screen, but
I see it.
And then looking at the draft capital here, sorry,
pretty good.
Looks like he's got 3 first-round picks.
Yes, he does.
Why can I not see that? What picks he has, Heimer?
He's got the 108,
11,
the 111, and the 113. Also, the 204.
108, 111, 113, and the 204. Okay, so looks like and sounds like this guy's trying to rebuild. Okay. Aaron Rodgers at QB. Nothing really we can do at this point, but just keep Aaron Rodgers.
Ride it out.
Ride it out.
I'm gonna have to ride this one out. Kareem Hunt, I'm okay with as a running back too, especially for this year with Watson there. But Singletary, I don't know what's going to happen there. I think he takes a big hit from James Cook going there. We just don't know how they're going to split this backfield or who's going to get what. So I don't know what's going on.
The best running back is going to get the ball in this backfield. And if I had to put money on it, it's probably going to be James Cook by the midseason.
Well, the thing with James Cook is the most carries he ever got in a game was like 8. So he's not really a ball.
But the Buffalo Bills,
but
Buffalo doesn't run the ball, and they're not getting James Cook can catch the ball out of the backfield. You understand? We're good. He's more of, I don't want to put him in, but more of that Kamara style running back where it's kind of receptions first, receiving yards first, and then whatever he gives you out of the backfield, especially in that offense. Buffalo doesn't want to run it 20 times a game. No, they're going to throw it behind the line of scrimmage, get him in space, and let him do his thing. So I think James Cook could be the RB1 for this team probably mid-season because we know what Singletary is. And let's just say he didn't even make any trades to his wide receivers, and they get a huge increase. Marquis Brown, Hollywood Brown going to Arizona, Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick getting Russell Westbrook. You understand? Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, not Westbrook. That's my fault. That's Polish's problem. I don't even know why I brought it here.
Come on.
He has to deal with that.
This is football season. Don't lay that at my front door right now.
All right, I'm sorry. But Tim Patrick also, like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray being their quarterbacks, what are they? You know what I'm saying? Judy, before he got hurt last year, he was well on his way to being a wide receiver 1. Mm-hmm. Now with let Russ cook and Jerry Jeudy, I think Jerry Judy's in for a big year. Hollywood Brown reuniting with Kyler Murray, he may be in for a big year. He can be looking at 2 wide receiver 1s and didn't even make a trade or nothing, and then he's adding on young talent. If I'm him, I'm taking James Cook with one of those picks in the back end. I was
getting ready to say that.
And then I'm getting my receiver with Sky Moore, whoever I want right there. And then you come back, you can flip the 204 for something on draft day, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I think with capital and everything, I like the position he's in. I don't know.
I can agree with that. I mean, we can argue about James Cook another day, but like you said, Brown and Judy, big uptick there. And then at tight end, we don't know what's going on with Gronk, but he's
coming back.
He's got Noah Fant and Henry.
So we got a question mark at wide receiver 3, I guess. I guess you
Not
could put,
really.
I guess you could put Patrick there.
Tim Patrick could be wide receiver 3 flex
Yes,
territory.
he can. Yes, he can.
So we need a flex, and we need at least one more running back. So those are probably areas maybe he'll address in the draft. Now he does have back end picks, so he's not getting Brees Hall, and I doubt Kenneth Walker is going to fall to him. So,
but he's looking at guys like Isaiah Spiller, James Cook,
Mm-hmm.
Ricard White, those type of guys. For this team, I'm taking James Cook if I can get him. And Spiller, he's going to get a lot of those carries. They don't want to hand the ball to Eckler in San Diego 20 times. They'd rather throw it to him. They're looking for a big back like Spiller to take some of those carries away from him and keep him fresh. Those are 2 running backs that probably are going to produce really good next year. And if he's smart, he takes one of them, and then, he shores up that wide receiver 3 with, a receiver back there, Sky Moore, in a really good situation.
Christian Watson, if Sky Moore's gone.
Yeah, there you go.
I would take 3 wide receivers and then pick up Cook in that second round, because I think he'll still be there. I don't think I wouldn't take him over some of the receivers that kind of, you can argue about any of them. It's all kind of close in that particular area. But what do you think, Heimer?
I think the value of Cook to him is greater. So if you have to reach with the 111 or the 113,
yeah,
I wouldn't reach with the 1-8 just from the standpoint of I think he'll be there. Because as Blanc said, other guys, and you said Bagala, other guys will get drafted. Kenneth Walker, Brees Hall, Spiller. I think other guys will get drafted first. But if I could get a Sky Moore with the 108 and then my 111 and my 113 is sitting right there, why not at this point? Because the value to him is so much higher considering he does have Singletary. So it's kind of just covering his ass at this point because he'll have Singletary, he'll have his backup, his handcuff, and then you go from there. So, I think the biggest key, we said it at the jump, he didn't have to make a trade and his guy's value increase. That can't be understated here. So I had Jerry Jeudy in a redraft league, and that first game, I think he had like 7 catches for 70 yards. And I was like, all right, let's get this done. And then he got hurt, unfortunately. Quarterback play was pretty suspect out in Denver this past season, but you insert Russell Wilson and automatically you get stability at the quarterback position. So that looks really good. I wouldn't really worry about the tight end spot for him because he's got Hunter Henry and Noah Fant. So I wouldn't really worry about that. He could use a little more depth though in his wide receiver running back core, but he has the draft capital to pick it up. Kareem Hunt for me is not an RB1. He's definitely an RB2. I would try and unload him to the owner of Nick Chubb and see if I could get somebody that's going to be a little more consistent. I don't think you're going to get RB1 value for Kareem Hunt, but I would try and get somebody that I'm going to get more stable production from as opposed to roller coaster production. One game you're getting 25, the next game you might get 7 or 8. I'd rather trade him for somebody that I know I'm going to get 13 to 15 every game, just for the stability of this position, because the position's in flux for him right now. If you look at the guys he's got.
Well, 13 to 15 a game. Who are you looking at that's going to give up that guy for Kareem Hunt?
Maybe you attach one of those first round picks.
I don't know if it's worth it. It depends who you're talking about now. Throw a name out there that you would give a first round, if you would take a first round pick and Hunt for.
A back end first round pick.
Even if it's the 111.
First round pick and Hunt. What do you think you can get out of that?
Aaron Jones?
Maybe. I guess it all depends on who that owner has. I mean,
but I'm saying just
that he hasn't played yet, even though we know he can put up RB2 numbers, even with Nick Chubb, and now that they're in a much better offense.
That's the thing, Steve, right there, is that Deshaun Watson going to this team. I can see this team spreading it out a little bit more and throwing the ball a little bit more, and Kareem Hunt kind of becoming and overtaking Chubb a little bit, just because they're gonna want to throw the ball, and he's great at receiving the ball out of the backfield. But Chubb's still gonna get his work. But I do think Kareem Hunt is gonna have a good year this year, now that Watson's there.
Yeah, but the way I look at it though, there's with a Deshaun Watson, obviously you want to say everybody's going to be upgraded, but I think the ball's going to be spread around a little bit more. If they're going to more of a passing attack, it might be a little more balanced on offense, as opposed to when Baker Mayfield was there. They wanted Baker Mayfield, they had him throwing 20 times a game because they didn't want him to turn it over. So I think the opportunities might be a little more limited for the running backs, because they are going to throw it maybe a little bit more with a Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's good for Kareem Hunt. For me,
yeah, because it's really Amari Cooper and who?
Yeah, I mean,
it's Amari Cooper and Kareem Hunt running routes out of the backfield until you figure out what the rookie's gonna be, or what Donovan Peoples-Jones is. Maybe he steps up. I don't know, but I think Kareem Hunt is in for some decent work as a receiver.
No, I agree. I wouldn't, if he's in my RB1 spot, I don't feel good about it. That's just my overall position.
Of course not. We're not talking about him as an RB1, but let's go back, I guess 2 years ago, we had 840 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns and 38 catches for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. Do you think that's doable now with Deshaun Watson there? I mean, it's not a crazy lot, and he still was running back 10. He didn't run for 1,000, but
no, it's the 11 touchdowns is what it is. And with Deshaun Watson there, do I think he can get 6 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving? Yes, I do. I that's doable with him there.
I can agree. I can agree with that as well. I mean, for me, looking at this team, I don't think really there is a move to make right away. I think his draft capital kind of solves most of his issues kind of that he has, and that's going to upgrade his team. I mean, you can't really trade Aaron Rodgers at this point. I mean, just because he doesn't have the receivers there, you're not going to get the value that you normally would, like if Devontae Adams was still there. And so if you wanted to trade him to a contending team, you probably can. At this point, I don't think you can. Now, if you can downgrade to something, I just don't know. I don't think that's possible right now. Anyway,
you said it in the beginning, you got to ride with him right now for what it is. And like we said, it's just the off season did this team justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't be ignored. You got 2 potential young wide receiver ones there. They have great quarterback play now. Say what you want about Lamar and everything. He's great. He runs the ball awesome. Kyler Murray's a better thrower of the football.
Yes, he is.
And Marquis Brown is, speed down the field, get open. And they just didn't run that type of offense in Baltimore. So, now in Arizona, they're gonna let it fly. And Jerry Jeudy, I always like Jerry Jeudy coming out. Now he actually has a quarterback that can deliver him the ball on time. You know what I'm saying? And accurately. So he's I think they're both due. I think both of them are gonna break out in a big way.
Doesn't it almost feel like when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos all those years ago, all those wide receivers just became household names? Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Emmanuel Sanders,
Brandon Stokely, you know what I'm saying?
Who was the tight end that year? That big tight end that was catching everything. Forgot his name, but they just had so many
Julius
guys.
Thomas.
Yes. Now I don't think Russell Wilson is as prolific a passer as Peyton Manning, but the principle is still the same, where all of those skill position players are going to get a bump, and I think a significant bump considering what they had in Drew Lock and Teddy Two Gloves out there. So the elevation of his guys, and even on his bench, as we talked about, don't tell me Tim Patrick can't be a wide receiver 3 solid flex on a week in, week out basis.
He's good
with touchdown upside.
He's definitely good. I like Tim Patrick a lot. So, and then, with, Darrell Henderson, you really don't know. Cam
Akers is the guy over there.
You know, so.
Well, now he's the official backup because Sony Michel is not there.
Michel's in Miami.
Yeah, and they might go to more of a two-back, you know what I'm saying? So he might get half the work.
They also did draft Kyren Williams as well.
Yes.
So you don't really know what they're going to do. But Akers will probably be, the feature back with Henderson as backup there.
But you never know because running backs get hurt, and Cam Akers was hurt a lot last year, and that's opened the door for Darrell Henderson to get a lot of those primetime looks.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Considering Akers towards his Achilles, they might want to go more to a 1-2 punch, and that gives you half the work right there. We have what? Did I see that right? 8 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, because he started a bunch of the games, obviously, with Akers out. So he finished with 8 touchdowns total, 5 rushing, 3 receiving.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's pretty good.
That's pretty solid. If you can I think they keep him around. So this team, with the draft capital and everything, like I said before, I like where they're at. I like their potential, I should say.
I never thought I'd say it, but Aaron Rodgers is the question mark on this team.
Yeah, pretty much.
Full disclosure, we talked about this in previous episodes. I'm a Packers fan, and a couple of things hurt him from the quarterback position. And when I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers is the question mark, number one, obviously he lost Devontae Adams, so that's a hit. And number two, Aaron is on a year-to-year thing. I don't care what the contract says. I don't care what he signed. He's on a year-to-year basis. So you never know when he's just going to say, F it, I'm out. You know what I mean? So, and if you listen to Aaron's statements recently, he was pretty surprised and pretty caught off guard that Devontae Adams left. He expected him to return when after he signed his deal. So that would be in the back of my mind if I'm the owner of this team. If, as Blanc said, I could maybe downgrade at the position to some degree, but also get maybe a guy that's 30, right? So maybe get somebody in that range and see if I can, keep this going with the other parts around him. So it's going to be interesting, but the team is pretty solid.
Yeah. Also, like right now, a couple of teams are hoarding quarterbacks, and a lot of those guys are going to be released, and they're young guys. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a Trevor Lawrence or a Tua or a Zach Wilson. Somebody's going to hit the waiver wire, and you can pick one of those youngsters up, and then next year draft one. But I feel like you got to ride Aaron Rodgers for this year, no? You know what I'm saying? And then just whatever he does, just be prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got to ride it out. I mean, I think with the picks, most likely, well, he should at least anyway, go, with Cook and then 3 wide receivers. I think that just will add a lot, to his team, and then just have to worry about really a quarterback from there, which you can try and address next year as there'll be some better quarterbacks coming out.
That's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't really take a chance on this year, except for maybe Pickett, but I think he needs more. I'd rather take a chance on one of those wide receivers than I would Pickett, especially since it's not a necessity at the moment that you.
No, you got Aaron Rodgers.
So, that's kind of the route that I would go. But all right, let's get into grading this team. Bagala, you're up. What do we got?
I'd give this probably. I'm at a B- for this team. I'm at a B- for just the team as itself going into next season. I'm at a B-, C+, more of a B- because I do like the capital, the draft capital this year and what he's going to be able to add. So you got to keep that in perspective. He's going to add some guys who are going to play this year. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to get some instant return on investment. You know what I'm saying? So B- for me.
You hit it right on the head as to what I was thinking, because I'm thinking the same thing. Like, B-, because once this draft comes, I mean, he'll definitely have.
Those guys are gonna play.
He'll definitely have a better team. So I'm definitely with you on that as far as the B-. Well, what do you think, Hammer? What are you giving this?
I'm a little more positive on this team just because of the upgrades without having to trade anybody. So I'm going to go with a B for right now. And that's taken into consideration the draft capital. Now, what he does with the draft capital is going to be a whole nother matter. So right now I'm going with a B, just considering that he has the draft capital and factoring in that he does take guys that are going to be young and impactful, pretty much from day one. So I'll go with a B for right now, but there is some upside there to really be a little bit of a force going down the stretch, because remember, a lot of those guys that get drafted, especially the rookies, they really don't hit their stride until the second half of seasons. I've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown comes to mind as a guy that really just got drafted and then took off in the second half of the season. So as those young guys get more acclimated, I think the team's only going to get stronger. And, Hollywood Brown and Jerry Jeudy, I think the team is pretty solid. So I'll go to B overall.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with you on some of those points. I think the main thing for me is why I give a B minus is even with the improvements, I mean, he's not going to contend for a ship. I don't think yet. It might be a year or two out before he, some of those younger guys really start, pulling along. But
yeah, that's why I was leaning towards the B also. But the hole at running back, the whole unknown with his running backs and things like that.
And then don't forget Rodgers. There's nobody he's got after that. So if he decides to hang it up after this year, I mean,
he's looking for a quarterback. So, but he, you know what I'm saying? The draft is going to be big for him, and I think he's going to get some players with the picks he has, and that's why I'm at a B. That running back hole is just so big right now. There's nobody there.
I agree, and there's not really a flex at the moment either. But obviously, those will be addressed in the draft. But I mean, a good offseason, I think, for him, definitely, as far as different guys moving around, definitely benefited his team. But anything else y'all want to add on this?
I do think this team can push for a playoff spot, similar to the team we did in the previous episode. I think there's a little more upside with this team than our previous team that we discussed. Agreed. But as you said, the running back at Holbagalot, that really does concern me, especially if you don't have a guy that's gonna really, you could plug him in and forget about it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm at a B. But like I said, I do think the draft capital really is gonna help him out down the stretch going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as long as Brown and Jeudy do their things and couple of those draft picks hit, I mean, then he's got nice young wide receivers and flex, and then he's just got to worry about the running back, an RB1 and the QB after Rodgers is gone. So I mean, he's put himself in good position to kind of rebuild his team. So that I do like
too. 3 first-round picks. He's rebuilding pretty quickly.
While still, I think, like I said, and that's a good point too. He could rebuild, but still also
he's competing,
stay in contention, be competitive on a week in, week out basis. So that's kind of the spot where you really want to be, especially. And let's also factor in, he inherited this team as well. So, but he didn't go crazy and start making a million trades. He did make a trade or two, but
he did make a trade or two.
By the way, you wanna
magic beans.
You want
magic beans, but no, we'll leave that for another day. I don't want to bring that negativity in there. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's only gonna make me mad. So
it's not really negativity at the moment. If this guy's turned around and got 3 first-round picks and
you can.
Steve, you sound a little more positive.
Yeah. I wonder
because I like what he did. So just to throw it out there, he had Dalvin Cook. He gave up Dalvin Cook for 2 first-round picks, which was the number 8, the number 9, and Kareem Hunt.
And now he has a
rebuilding team. Now he has everything that he needs. We're talking about it now of him rebuilding his team. It would look different if he didn't have obviously those 2, those extra draft picks, but if he had, Singletary and Cook, and then he's got nothing else. I mean, anyway, I like the trade that he made, pick up the draft capital and just, try and
you could spin it any way you want.
Bro, you're cashing out while the guy still has value. Dalvin Cook ain't gonna gain value in the next couple of years.
Well,
You know,
I can say he
what
did
y'all
not
wanna do.
leave his team worse than what he got it. I will say that it's better. Even making that trade, his team is still in a better spot than it was when he got it.
Over the long haul, for sure. Yeah.
And then especially over the long haul, if those fucking 3 first-round picks turn out to all hit, and he's got couple wide receiver 2s in there. I mean, that's worth it for what he needs at the moment. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, that was another episode of grading Dynasty teams for y'all. So we're gonna wrap it up. We'll see y'all next time. But like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Send us your team, and we'll put y'all on for next time. But anyways, we out.
Cast ball.